The Beekeeper, a film about a retired assassin who suffers a personal loss that gets him back into the game to hunt down and kill the son of a man who is aware and afraid of what this assassin can do. This notable action figure is a part of an underground ring of assassins, and after doing a regular job for so many years, tragedy strikes and he goes on a one-man mission to right some wrongs. Keanu Reeves, Jason Statham plays the character of John Wick. Adam something, I can't even remember his name because it was so pointless to the plot. After he loses his neighbor to suicide, he seeks revenge on a man who causes her to reach that point. Now, The Beekeeper is not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but while watching it, you may definitely get the sense that you've seen this film before, in quite a few other films actually, and the stakes go from something so personal to absolutely world-ending in a matter of seconds, and the plot is an absolute mess. I don't particularly go into an action movie expecting a well-woven and intricate storyline, but this was actually verging on a Fast and Furious plot. And speaking of Fast and Furious, I feel like Jason Statham was just playing Shaw in a new map, wearing a new skin. Some of the lines of dialogue were plucked straight from the family handbook. Family, 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 family. And there are so many B puns. I really think they had like a quota to hit on how many times they can fit a B pun into the movie. Like literally, take a shot every time you hear, "I need to look after the hive." Let's talk about the villain of the movie. Or let's say the 3 to 4 different villains of the movie. The movie starts out very strong, but every time the Beekeeper ends up killing one of the villains with ease, there's just another one for him to hunt down and kill until he gets to the big bad. But it was just the same plot for all 3 acts of the movie. Search and destroy, get another name, search and destroy, get another name, and then search and destroy again. Then there's this whole subplot of police officers chasing him down and trying to stop him, as well as the mess of the assassin ring trying to stop him too. It feels like they were just trying to put different elements of multiple stories into this and seeing how much they can cram into the 2.5 hour runtime. It was honestly a very messy plot. Each villain gets more esoteric and outlandish than the last. They were all a little bit over the top, twirly mustache villains, and that took away from what could have been a really good grounded action movie had you stripped down some of the elements and made it more personal. But I think the film knew exactly what it was for the most part. It's a cheesy action flick in a silly goofy mood. Nothing more, nothing less. But there were some moments in the film where you felt like they were trying to be a little bit more than it was, and it was those moments that really bugged me. You can't have both. You either lean into goofy action or you lean into poignant and well developed. When the tone is constantly changing, it's hard for the audience to try and figure out how to feel. I'm more than happy to suspend my disbelief if that's what the film asks of me, but when it comes back and asks me to take it seriously again, it's just very confusing. I feel like this film could have easily been a video game with some of the boss level characters that he fights, especially near the end. But let's talk about the fighting. There was no point in the film's runtime where I felt any sense of concern for Jason's character. He was not tested in the slightest, and I did not fear for his safety. Every fight he went into, I knew he would come out victorious, and I quite enjoyed that, to be fair, but I wish there were at least some stakes or some sense of jeopardy. The action scenes were well shot and had enough of a variety to them to keep me engaged. Back to the police officer. You could have literally swapped her out for Tessa Thompson mid-movie and I would not have noticed. And that's not a racist comment, nor is it sexist. They literally share the same unbothered facial expressions the whole way throughout. She shows no emotion and walks around with a smug, girl boss look on her face the whole time. She is always right and gets everything she wants. No character arc, no real human emotion or reactions, no challenges. She's only tied to this plot via her mother being the one that killed herself in the beginning, but she doesn't even have an appropriate reaction to the loss of her mother. She of course has an innocent, neutered male sidekick because that's Hollywood nowadays, and by the end she actually affects the plot in no real way at all. You could have completely removed her character and nothing would have changed in the story. Now, I think when introducing characters into a script, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. How are they relevant to the plot? That can be via driving the plot, connection with another character, they can serve as the audience's POV, or literally pretty much any reason to add them to the plot, but there just has to be a reason. And then the other thing is, what do they add with every scene they're in? If the answer is nothing, then you're better off not having the character in at all. That's how I felt with this police officer. Anyways, like I said, the film is definitely not to be taken seriously, it's just for a bit of laughs. I think. Could it be better? 100%. Are there simple storytelling elements that could have made this possibly the next franchised action movie? Maybe. But they missed the mark, so all we got was a cheesy 80s action movie with clunky dialogue and some decent set pieces. Nothing stand out, nothing revolutionary, just Jason Statham playing Jason Statham. Fun watch, but I wouldn't say it's a must watch. Have you seen The Beekeeper? What did you think of it? And if you like what you've seen, please do subscribe, and if not, then I thank you for watching this far and I'll catch you in the next one.